It's all man-made. It doesn't even resemble natural food. The FDA has approved thousands of additives, preservatives, colorings to be used in our foods. You need to understand that artificial flavorings, colorings, preservatives, all that stuff, it's all toxins that our body has to deal with and break down. It's made to make the food look better, taste better, last longer, but it's not healthy for us, okay? The average person consumes 150 pounds of additives every year. Take a look at this. Strawberry milkshake, Burger King. Here's the ingredients. I know you can't read it, but you can look this up online. That's where I got it. Look it up online. Look at all those ingredients. There's no strawberries in there, and there's no milk. All right? But that's what we're consuming, a bunch of preservatives, artificial flavorings, colorings, all kinds of additives. All right? Those are the things we want to eliminate. Lunchables. This makes up 22% of Oscar's sales, all right, in Lunchable. There's the ingredients in a Lunchable, all right? That's ridiculous what all is in here. Again, full of artificial flavorings, colorings, additives. I mean, you might think, Lunchable, what's in there? You know, it's meat, crackers, cheese. Well, there's over 100 different ingredients that go in to make those things up, okay? Chicken McNuggets. Take a look at this. 38 ingredients in the Chicken McNuggets. Most of them are from corn. Now, if I asked any of you guys, what do you think goes into a Chicken McNugget? You know, what do you guess the ingredients are?
Chicken.
Yeah, I would think you would say, well, chicken, maybe some flour, maybe an egg. Yeah, we got the baker over here. Some milk, and maybe some oil that they fried it in, right? You think that'd be about it. You know, 10 ingredients max. There's 38 ingredients in there, mostly from corn. Couple of alarming nugget ingredients. One is an anti-foaming agent. The reason that I point that out, it's been listed by the FDA as a carcinogen, again, known to cause cancer, an anti-foaming agent. Another thing that's in here, TBHQ. You might think, what the heck is that? Again, they put that in there for freshness. Sometimes it'll actually be on the inner lining of the box that it comes in. At high enough dosage, this has been linked to death. It can be fatal. I mean, there's just some ridiculous stuff in here once you start realizing what type of chemicals are in our food.
Cereals and stuff.
That's your Chicken McNuggets, yeah. So pesticides. This is what's sprayed on our fruits and vegetables. This is what you're consuming unless you're doing organic. And I'm not going to get into an organic debate with any of you guys, but you know, organic is meant to be free of pesticides and herbicides. And again, you have to think about the meats that you're eating. What were they fed? Because if they're fed foods that are sprayed with pesticides, you're getting those too. All right? 3 million tons of pesticides used every year worldwide. That's a lot of pesticides. 1,600 chemicals. 1,600 different chemicals are used in the production of this. Most of them have not been tested on humans to see what they can cause. Some of the exposure has been linked to by many physicians. They think that it can cause like nervous system disorders, immune system suppression, making your immune system weak, childhood cancer, breast cancer, diabetes, reproductive problems, hormone problems, asthma, ADHD, autism, migraines, headaches. The list goes on and on, right? All bad. We don't want this stuff. That's the point. We want to get rid of it in our foods. Here's the scary part. This is something, you're not going to find it on your label, right? I was able to at least teach you how to look for trans fats. You know, they manipulated the laws. They tried to hide it, but I could teach you how to look for trans fats. You can't go and look at your foods and see what pesticides were sprayed on there or might be in there. So you don't know, right? Well, here's the good news. You know, one, again, we have organic, and I'm not going to tell you that the USDA organic certification is foolproof and perfect. And again, I'm not here to debate that because we got enough information to go over. But we do have organic, you know, that's supposed to try to, if not at least eliminate, significantly reduce the amount of pesticides and herbicides that you're exposed to. The other thing that we have is the Environmental Working Group puts out what they call a Clean 15 and a Dirty Dozen. And they keep updating this, okay? It's in this book right here. When you browse this stuff, take a look at this book. The list is in there. You can probably find the list online. And what that is it explains the 15 foods that are the cleanest, the least likely to have high amounts of pesticides and herbicides and toxins in them when it comes to your fruits and vegetables. And the dirty dozen are the ones that are going to be the worst. And a lot of it has to do with the skin on the particular piece of fruit or vegetable, how much it absorbs the pesticide that's sprayed actually into the inner part of the fruit or vegetable. So you have that information. Use that to help you decide, okay, I want to buy some organic, but maybe I feel like I can't afford it all, or I don't want to buy it all. The Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen kind of help you decide which ones are the most important to buy organic, okay? And which ones maybe you can save your money on, go with an inorganic, and have it not be quite so bad. Dangerous additives, nitrites. Nitrite is an additive, and you'll find it in all of your processed meats, okay? Hot dogs, pepperonis, lunch meats, those types of things. It's added to give the food a red color and make it look fresh. That's the only purpose it has, is so it looks more enticing to you, okay? Look at this. It's been banned in many countries, and it was almost banned in the United States. Why? Because the World Cancer Research Fund said that it was so dangerous, humans shouldn't be consuming it. All right? 67% increased risk of pancreatic cancer when you consume nitrates or nitrites. It's in our hot dogs. There's basically two problems with our meat. One is toxic bioaccumulation, like we talked about this. They accumulate all the toxins from what they eat, and it accumulates in meat. So what I'm trying to tell you is that when you eat a cow that's been eating grains sprayed with toxins, it's much more potent for you to eat that cow because of all the bioaccumulation than it would be if you just went and ate the individual plant pieces that were sprayed with toxins, okay? So when we talk about eliminating toxins and starting at the top, we're talking about making sure your meats are clean, because that's what's going to be the most toxic. That's the most important, making sure you're eating clean meats that don't have the toxins in them. So the bioaccumulation is one problem. Another problem, though, is the healthy fats in these meats become damaged. Okay, remember, I said there's a difference between eating a good red meat and a bad red meat. If you eat healthy fats, healthy red meat, then it's healthy. It's okay to eat the hamburger. It's okay to eat the steak. The healthy fats become damaged because it denatures the fats and it changes the essential fatty acid ratio. So let's talk about that for a second. We talked enough about the toxic bioaccumulation. Let's talk about this for a second. I said we'd get to this when I was talking about the different ratios. I said this perfect ratio, omega, gives you the perfect ratio of healthy fats. When I talk about this, there's a ratio of omega-6 to omega-3s, and they're both important. They both have really important health properties. But if these get out of balance, either way, if you have too many omega-6s to omega-3s or too many omega-3s to omega-6s, that's bad. Okay, our body never wants to be out of balance. It always wants to be in balance. The ideal ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 is anywhere from a 1-to-1 ratio, meaning the same amounts, all the way up to a 4-to-1, meaning 4 times the omega-6s to omega-3s. Anywhere in that ratio, that's ideal. That's a healthy ratio for good fats. What are most of us, the typical person? 20-to-1. We're supposed to be somewhere between 1.1 to 4.1. 1-to-1 to 4-to-1. We're 20-to-1. I want you to understand this means we're skewed in the wrong direction. We have way too many omega-6s to omega-3s. Okay? Why? Why is that? Because most of us are consuming beef that's been fed grain. Again, it's fed that to fatten it up. Beef that's been fed grain, and we eat a lot of grains. In this country, we eat a lot of grains, a lot of sugars, a lot of pastas, a lot of breads. Grain and beef that's fed grain is skewed really high in the omega-6s to omega-3s because grain has omega-6 in it, okay? Now, I'm not going to tell you to eliminate grain unless you have some specific health issues. But you need to understand that grain is pro-inflammatory. It has omega-6s only. It skews the ratio, makes you 20-to-1. The ratio on the grass-fed beef is 21-to-1. That makes you really inflammatory. And remember how bad I said inflammation was. It causes all these problems. Well, it's not so much that grain is the problem. The problem is that our ratio is off. If we were eating as many omega-3s, if we were eating as much fish as we ate grains, we'd be fine. But we eat a ton of grain and a ton of beef that's been fed grain and not much of anything else. And it puts us in this skewed ratio that sets us up for an inflammatory environment in our body. And we've talked many times already tonight about how bad inflammation is and what it causes. This is just a chart that basically says the same things. It just shows you, you know what, I don't even want to get into it. I want to keep on trucking. But basically what it tells you is that animals that eat grass or graze naturally have a good ratio of omega-3s to omega-6s or omega-6s to 3s. It's the beef that's fed unnaturally by man, fed all this grain, corn mainly, to fatten it up where you get the skewed ratio. Okay?
Do you know what the IU is for omega-3?
Yes. Omega-3s, they don't use IU, they don't use international unit for omega-3s. They'll actually use milligrams or grams. And the ideal omega-3 is to get a gram, about a gram of omega-3s per day. It's 1,000 milligrams, that's 1 gram. Most of your omega-3 supplements, if they're good ones, most of them will have that much in there. Just a quick note on pork and shellfish, because we've been talking so much about beef, and I'm not going to talk too much about these other than the fact that they're bad. And the reason that they're bad and we want to eliminate them, remember, we want to eliminate toxins. In pork and shellfish, you have to understand they're very toxic foods for 2 reasons. One, they have a very bad detoxification system. The way that these animals are built, they don't have a good physiology to detoxify themselves. So whatever gets in doesn't really get out. They become toxic. Also, these are the bottom feeders, okay? The pigs, they eat mud and crud, whatever's on the bottom. And the shellfish are the same thing. They eat the crud on the bottom of the ocean, what everybody else doesn't want, all the junk. So they eat a lot of toxins, and they don't have a system that can detoxify. They're very toxic foods. So again, on this meal plan that we want to teach...
Are you sure lobster's that way?
I'm afraid so. Healthy animal products. So, animal products are great, but again, remember, we want them to be healthy. We want them grass-fed, free-range, wild-caught fish, dairy from natural sources, best when it's raw. We've talked about all that. Here's another product, another dietary supplement. This is a daily detox. I heard you out here when you first came in ask about detox, and I thought, well, you're going to enjoy this slide. She asked if we do any detox programs, and I don't know exactly what you were getting to, and if you have more questions afterwards, ask me. But this is a product, a nutritional product, again, take a look at it here in a second, that's designed to help your body detoxify. It does 2 things. It has a cell detox, so that those cells, remember the bags that we talked about, it helps the cell detoxify and remove toxins, but not only that, it's not good enough just to have the cell remove the toxins, because now you have this in the body. It's outside the cell. It's now in the extracellular fluid. Well, we don't want it there either. Otherwise, it's just going to make its way back into the cell. The second part is it's a body detox. So it removes it from the cell, then it gets it out of the body. So cell detox, then a body detox. We're talking about how important it is to detoxify, so I don't really want to go over all those things again as far as what this can help with. But again, if we're focused on weight loss and looking at our weight loss challenge, I want you to understand how fat and toxins work. Our body is so smart that when it becomes toxic, it will try to protect itself by walling off the toxin with a fat globule. Okay? So we have this fat globule that sits around the toxin. And people will try to diet,